Hi, today we are going to look at a situation to which we can apply the EGAD process learned in class, and the topic we chose for this is the Concorde crash. France Air Flight 4590 was a PAC Concorde turbojet-powered supersonic passenger airliner. The tragic accident had killed 100 passengers plus 13 flight crew members in July of 2000. The crash reportedly happened within 2 minutes during takeoff. A metal strip had fallen off another airliner a few minutes earlier. As the plane took off at high speeds, with one of the airliner's tires burst, which caused chunks of the tire to puncture the wing's fuel tank. The fuel ultimately leaked out and ignited, causing the fire. The crew lost control of the plane within moments as the plane flew into a hotel, killing all crew and passengers, including 4 people on the ground. Even though the plane had hit a metal strip that caused a tire explosion and a resultant fire, experts say that the damage was still survivable and, if not for a few mistakes, avoidable as well. Firstly, the plane after takeoff went down because it was flying too slowly due to the extra weight. Secondly, as it was several tons overweight and beyond its aft center of gravity limit. And lastly, 2 of its engines were either damaged or erroneously shut down. We will go into details of these errors along the video. Along with this, the plane was flying too slowly because the pilot at the controls, Christian Marty, had pulled the jet into the air to avoid skidding sideways off the runway and colliding with another plane. Why it was skidding has been the subject of contention, but as you can see from the picture, the skid was caused by an improperly prepared landing gear.
Now we'll use the EGAD strategy to solve the ethical dilemmas of this case, where E represents ethical issues, G, generation of alternatives, A, analysis, and D, decisions. We'll discuss the ethical issues that apply to this case using section 77 and 72. According to the Act 72.1, this case represents negligence. As in this case, very important information was ignored that caused the accident, like the tailwind factor, faulty spacer, and the fact that the aircraft was overweight. Act 77.4, 72.2c, and Act 77.1.5 also apply to the case due to the fact that the faulty aircraft was approved by the investigators. Information that could be harm to public welfare and is unprofessional should be disclosed immediately, and this represents the incompetence of the engineers. Act 72.2.d is breached as the flight engineer decided to shut down the second engine when it was most needed. Act 77.8 corresponds to the carelessness of engineers, how they did not respond to faulty aircraft to get away with it. Lastly, 77.2.1 and 72.2h is again breached when the pilot and the team decided to go ahead to take off the plane when the wind conditions were not suitable. We'll discuss the decisions which could have been taken. The news about the damaged spacer is reported to Air France by investigators, and aircraft is not approved. Aircraft is not prepared for takeoff and the flight is delayed considering the extra weight and unsuitable wind. The second engine is kept running by the flight engineer in an attempt to make the safe landing. Investigators ignore the faults of the aircraft and declare it safe to fly. Discuss the analysis of alternative approach. Reporting the damaged spacer. This means that the issue will be resolved and the aircraft will not wobble when it will pass over a metal strip. There will be no skidding, so the pilot will not be forced to take off as he can slowly bring the plane to a halt if required. B. Negligence of aircraft overweight and wind conditions. This approach will make the pilot and the aircraft team to take strict measures against the fact that the plane was overweight with extra fuel and luggage, and the flight is also delayed due to bad tailwind. The flight engineer kept the ailing second engine running considering the first engine was damaged. As the second engine was shut off, it breached all set procedures. The engine itself was not on fire, and as the tank emptied and the fire burnt itself out, it would probably have recovered. This would help the aircraft to remain stable and pilot could have made a safe landing. D. Investigator ignore the faults of the aircraft and declare it safe to fly. This approach is what led to the crash. The aircraft was imbalanced due to the damaged spacer, and then the metal strip further oscillated, this leading to skidding which forced the pilot to take off. There Where one thing led to another, there was a plane crash on a hotel building which caused death of 109 lives on board and 4 people on ground.
Which is the best decision? As seen from the analysis, the only acceptable decision is the first decision, as all the other decisions would have breached the code of ethics in some way or the other. For this, we can look at the aftermath of the crash where all the Concorde SST were permanently grounded, which goes to show that the plane had defects in it. Looking from a law perspective, the airline have a contract which ensures safe travel to the passengers. As a result, charges were pressed against Continental Airlines and two of their employees, John Taylor, the mechanic who replaced the rear strip, and his manager Stanley Ford, alleging negligence in the way the repair was carried out. After the trial, Continental Airlines were found criminally responsible and fined €200,000. Along with that, they had to pay Air France €1 million. Here are the citations, and thank you for watching.